Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? This is not going to be our normal fun maintenance type video or flying video or things like that. This is kind of some information. So as many of you guys, anybody that follows this channel or likes this channel, likes anything that I do, you guys know that I'm at the Coeur d'Alene Airport, or the Pappy Boyington Airport in northern Idaho. And as with any airport, we have our trials and tribulations. So this is a little bit of airport dirty laundry. I'm posting it here because I went to airport advisory board meeting last night at 5 o'clock. We had a big agenda that we went over, so I got some notes here, some things to go over, and I thought I would jump on here and kind of do an update of that. So we've got a lot of people that are out there curious, a lot of local people. So we do have some local people that watch this channel, surprisingly. Not only people from around the country or the world, but no, I wanted to give an update of kind of what happened last night at the association meeting. My kind of thoughts and feelings of that. I know I was pretty disappointed last night in the meeting, to be honest with you, and kind of go from there. So that's what this is. So if you're looking for a cool low-pass video of mine, or the Beech 18, or some training airplanes, or some training information, if you're a aspiring pilot, this is not the video for you. Click watch our next one, go from there. If you want to know what's going on and what could be happening at your own airport, if you're not in the know or paying attention, you very well may have a lot of these same issues. So I'll just jump right in it. I don't, excuse me, I don't want this to be a super long video. I want people to be able to get through it. So again, to reiterate, Coeur d'Alene Airport, or the Pappy Boyington Field, northern Idaho, is where we're at. We're a Part 139 airport. We don't have any charter service, but we are a 139 certificated airport. So that's good and bad in its own right. So a little backstory for anybody that's just kind of paying attention here, or anybody local that's going from there. We had a airport director, or airport manager, as most of us know him, at this airport. He'd been here about 5 or 6 years, I guess. And the nicest way to say it is again, all of this is my own personal feelings. None of this is represented by anybody outside of Shane Rogers. So he had his own agenda. So he was doing things that may not been in the best interest of end users of the airport and or the county. So he's no longer here, so it's a moot point. It doesn't matter. A lot of people saw what was going on, me, and there was a lot of people that were vocal about it. And it finally, we had enough of a change above him that people started seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and he moved on. So good luck to him in his endeavors in aviation or whatever he does, and he's moved on. Well, with him moving on, left an advisory board that was pretty much made up of his appointees, okay? Not everybody. There were some end users at the airport on it. There was some people from the community, as it should be, and kind of all of those different types of situations. People were on the advisory board. But the advisory board had passed a lot, and when I say a lot of things that were the airport director's agenda, not in the best interest of the county. So we had some changeover at the top. They looked at some of these advisory boards throughout the county and decided to open up some seats and have some other people apply for these positions and appoint some new people. So on our advisory board, I think it's made up of 9 people. We've got 2 reserves and 7 active. Don't give me, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what it is. And they're trying to figure it out. So I think this was our 3rd or 4th meeting that they had. So now I'm just going to dive into the meat and potatoes of what I saw last night. So last night's meeting was 2.5 hours long. And we got nowhere. If I'm just going to cut right to the chase, we got absolutely nowhere. It was frustrating. We had some end users of the airport that were there leave in the middle of the meeting. I know they had some other prior obligations. That wasn't a dig on them. The meeting ran rampant. This is an advisory board meeting. I'm hoping that some of the advisors see this video. In an advisory board meeting, in how it's structured like a city council or a county meeting. So, they've got a roll call and pledge of allegiance and conflicts of interest and change of agenda and staff reports and old business, new business. Then all the way at the bottom, they've got public comment. I understand that's how this has to be done. It drives me insane. So a couple of the things that I took away from last night, and one, I know we're figuring all of this out, but one of the big things that's jumped out with me prior with the old board and what I'm seeing with this new board is this is an advisory board for an airport. How can you advise a county commission and an airport manager or anybody else if you're not spending time at the airport? I've always used the analogy for the last couple of years here. It would be like me coming into your neighborhood, living where I live, and getting on your homeowner association board and saying, I don't like white doors, or I'm sorry, I don't like white picket fences or red doors. Okay? Now at my house, I have that. And let's say 80% of the neighborhoods in this neighborhood have that, but I don't like it in your neighborhood. So I'm going to change that. I don't know anybody in the neighborhood. I don't know anything there, but I don't like it for that neighborhood. It's silly. And it's the same thing that we've got now. We've got a handful of people, a couple people, probably three, that are true end users of the airport on the advisory board out of the 9, which is great. We need those people. We've got people from all different walks of life, real estate. I think there's a lawyer on there and all these other types of things. And I am proud that they have stepped up for a non-paying position on a board that's representing this county. Let me preface it with that. But you're doing a huge in-service to everybody at this airport by not coming out and talking and communicating to end users. So I'll go over this agenda. We did the normal things, call to order, pledge of allegiance, that's great. Conflicts of interest, absolutely. Changes to agenda. Everything on this agenda changed. Everything. There was nothing on this that didn't change. So right out of the gate, we're way behind the 8 ball. It's been a month, mind you, since the last meeting. So it kind of is what it is. So we went up, update on airport construction, closures, and this. So we've got an engineering firm here that's acting as a construction manager at the airport. They did their update. That's great. There was a little fumble with technical difficulties. That happens. I thought the young lady that did it, I don't know her, did great, and went from there. They scrubbed off the airport director position. Phil, which is an interim director or airport manager, we pulled that off, which is okay. That's great. There was a reason for that, so we'll deal with that in a different time. Then we went into old business, and boy, oh boy, we got to the old business probably 15 or 20 minutes into this meeting. And the first thing up, they changed A and B. They didn't have this laid out very well, so we need to be better at setting up this agenda and why. Last minute changes seem silly to me, but it was what it was. So it was review the guidelines, the airport board guidelines. So how these guys are doing their business, okay? Reviewing that, which, okay, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Maybe the old way didn't work. I don't know if it did or it didn't. It says recommend changes, actions on any such proposed changes. And it was like, let's vote for this. Let's push this off. Let's do this or that or the other. Well, that's great that we're setting up the infrastructure for this airport board meeting and how it works. But at the end of the day, that airport board is only there. These volunteers, and again, volunteers, I appreciate what you guys are doing. I thank you for your time. But you are only there to advise on the happenings of this dang airport. Listen to the people, listen to the end users, go out, talk to the end users around this airport, okay? Communicate what they need, bring those things to this advisory board meeting. The airport manager is going to bring things to this advisory board meeting. How do we address leases at this airport? That was one that we finally got to at this airport, and it went awry. And this is part of the problem, and I'm getting worked up here a little bit, guys, and I apologize, but it's absolutely ludicrous. We're talking about the problem with the leases here was with the old airport director giving favoritism to certain people on this airport that were on a waiting list for a lot. Period. Clean it up. Have a list that's public notice of where you're at on that list when you apply for a lot or a hangar here. If you're number 30, you're number 30, okay? If number 1 is up and they find a lot at this airport to give to that person and they don't have an airplane or they don't have the finances to do it or they don't want to do it, then we're going to go to number 2. Have a public list of who you are, where you are, and what you do. Here at this airport, when you want to get a lease, you have to pay a $500 non-refundable fee to start that process. It's a paperwork fee or filing fee. It's changed. There's some misunderstanding on what that is. Okay, great. We don't get that $500 back. It's a put it in with the application. I guess they call it an application fee, and it's gone. Great. Make that very clear. We don't have to reinvent the leasing. The lease is fine. We can address, there's nothing we can do at a board level to affect a lease. Let the county legal deal with that. If there's a problem in a lease, me being a potential leasee, I'm going to take that lease to my lawyer. My lawyer's going to read that lease. We're going to red pen it. I'm going to mark it up. We're going to submit it back, and it's going to go to legal. Do we want to make these changes or do we not? Do we want to tell this guy to pound sand or not? Guys, we don't have to spend 45 minutes talking about stuff that one, we don't even understand. It affects me, and I know these leases inside and out. I've had legal battles over these leases. I know it. You guys don't. I mean, yes, we've got a lawyer on board, and we've got a real estate person on board, and I thank you guys for your time on this advisory board. But you guys do not have the aptitude to change that lease. The problem at this airport was the favoritism that was happening with people that have applied for leases, okay? Yes, if you're a commercial operator, it needs to go in front of a board. If you're a normal person that wants to build an FBO or less, then you're going to go in and that's what you're going to do, period. That's how that's going to work. If you do anything less than that, it's not going to work out at all. So get back to the basics, answer the questions, and do that. This 2.5-hour meeting that I was in last night is asinine. I mean, it's just asinine. Second thing that we went over last night, sorry guys, I've got customers that just walked in, so if anybody knew that, then you'd get it. We're doing a video here. No, you guys are fine. You guys are getting the wrath of Shane from sitting in a airport director board meeting last night that went not very far where it should have went. So we went over the leases. I think the can got kicked again. So we're 4 months in, and a new board with an interim manager, and some of these things that are huge red flags we're not addressing. And that was kind of the other thing, is we went and highlighted some things, and we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbered all of this. They voted on, priority of items that were of concern of this airport. I can appreciate that. But because, again, Shane's opinion, okay, we know what that's worth, absolutely nothing. Just ask my wife, she'll tell you. But Shane's opinion is 2 of the top 4 things on this advisory board's top list have been dealt with. The communication to end users is changed. There's not a single person, mark my words, there is not a single person at this airport that spends more time at this airport. Okay, I'm not saying I'm good, bad, or indifferent. I'm just saying there's nobody in the county that spends more time at this airport than me. Okay, I could say very confidently that we have fixed the communication problem between the end users and management. I talk to every one of the facilities guys regularly. They stop by to see if they need anything, if I need anything or we need anything. They talk to my employees. We've got, what do we have, 16 employees here? We've got a lot of employees here. We're a big employer of the county. We affect a lot of households here in this county, and I'm just a little business. And I'm assuming if they're doing it with me, they're going out and doing other things. Our interim manager is making communication. The communication thing at that level is done. And if you guys would come out and talk to end users, we would know that. We wouldn't have to discuss it on an advisory board agenda for 25 minutes. So it's done, it's fixed. Communication is great, okay? Communication with end users is great. Those types of things, 2 thumbs up, it's changed. The airport advisory board, I think once we get through some of these wrinkles, we're going to have it all dealt with and kind of go from there. But I think the airport advisory board is great, how the communication is going. Yes, were there steps in the past of I want to start an airline here at Coeur d'Alene? Okay, yes. I need to go talk to the airport manager and the people in the office. Okay, great. What do you think? Yeah, maybe this is a good idea. Then I would write a proposal and I would go in front of the airport advisory board and say, hey, this is what I want to do. What do you guys think? They're either going to be for it or against it at that level, and then it's going to go up to the county commissioners and it's going to get their thing. That's the process. That's the process in anything, in county or city or public entities. That's how that works. You don't just, behind closed doors, yep, let's do this. You're going to have 40 acres on this airport and you could do with it whatever you want and hold the county and the cities liable within this for traffic or this, that, and the other. No, that's silly. But if you want to come and build a small hangar and do either business out of it or have it for your private aircraft, yeah, come in. I'd like to fill out the application for this. Okay, great. Here you go. It's going to go on the advisory board. Hey, he wants to build a 6,000 foot hangar here to keep his Pilatus in. Okay, yeah, that sounds great. It's good for there. We want the money and the revenue for that, and it makes sense. Okay, great. Send it to the commissioners. We all approve it. Go from there. Let's just dumb it down, guys. Let's dumb it down. Let's not overthink all of this ridiculousness. Okay, so now we're longer than I wanted this video to be already, but I'm saying this is some of the pain that I went through last night. And again, I love everybody that was there. Okay, we had Commissioner Matari in attendance. We had almost all of the airport staff in attendance. I thought that was great. We had most all board members there. We had a lot of end users at the airport. Some of these meetings are there's more public coming to these meetings than I've seen going to these meetings in years. I mean, I didn't go. So, but we're 2 hours in doing ridiculous BS stuff, okay? And I know maybe some of this stuff we have to get through for some reason or another, but we're getting through that. Finally get to new business, okay? By now, I think 5 people had got up and left the building. They're just, and I to be 100% honest, I wanted to leave or at least walk next door to my shop and get a cup of coffee. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was everything I could do to bite my tongue. And of course, public entities here, we can't talk as the public. We can't talk until the end. Public comment, number 8 on this list out of 10 things that we got to do is public comment. And number 9 is adjourn. So we can't say anything. So I'm biting my tongue because these people that don't come to the airport, don't spend time here, don't know what's truly going on, are affecting things that affect my family, that affect my kids, me now and my kids that are going to take this business over and run it in the future, as well as my employees and their families. Don't come around the airport and don't realize that a lot of these problems have been fixed. They want to argue over semantics on we're going to use, I forget what it was, John's form of public, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm getting off base here again. But so we finally get to new business. We'll talk about this a little bit. Landing fees come up. Okay, we have landing fees at this airport. Okay, it was changed a couple years back to lower the weight restriction. Okay, there's some misconceptions here on this too, even with the people involved. Okay, well, it's a landing fee, it's not a takeoff fee, so we don't get charged on the weight of that. That's not how this system works, guys. There's no scales on this airport runway. When we land, it goes by what the gross weight of that airplane is. So there's an automated system that takes the gross weight and then it charges you per tens of thousands of pounds on here. I could break it down. I got this. Thanks for Mike and Cade provided that to me through the meeting. So that was kind of neat on how it works. So it breaks down. And apparently we're like the most expensive airport on the Pacific Northwest. It was ridiculous what we're charging. We've got the fire department that is here and staged here all year long. I can promise you that's good for our community. It's good to show the FAA that we have that kind of operations here and doing all this. And they're complaining because it's too much money. They're going to go to another airport. We have a problem. I got charged in a float plane doing a missed approach coming in. I never touched down on the airport. Okay, I got charged a landing fee in a Beech 18 with floats. Okay, ridiculous. If it was up to me, I would want to know how much revenue that the airport or the county actually made off of the landing fees. And if it wasn't a substantial amount, I would say to hell with the landing fees. They don't even make sense. Get it out of here. Everybody's getting a cut. Everybody's getting paid. It's one of those services that we forget about and go from there. But if we're going to do it, it needs to be adjusted. Absolutely. Half of these people didn't understand how the landing fees work. Half of the people wanted to change. We just won't charge the fire department for landing fees. Well, if we're nitpicking and we're not going to charge 30 or 40% of the people that come here to utilize the landing fees, let's get rid of it. It seems like it's a pain in the ass. Excuse my language, but that's what it seems like to me. Anyway, so we finally got to that, and we appointed Frank, one of the alternates on the advisory board, to do this. Frank is phenomenal. He knows numbers inside and out. He'll do a great presentation, I'm sure, the next meeting, and break it down and make some recommendations on what the landing fee should be, what the weight restriction should be, what should be excluded, what should not be excluded, kind of going from there. So that was great. More to be continued, but that's 2 hours in. We finally get to something that affects this airport 2 hours in. Not that these other things maybe not affected the airport. The leasing process may have affected it, but we didn't get anywhere on it. We got absolutely nowhere. I mean, at the rate we're going on some of these things, it's going to take 5 years to get these things dealt with. 5 years. And that's me being generous. The next one was 7B, airport director position. Again, that got scrubbed off of here. Same with 5B. So we don't know if Phil was going to talk about it, but something changed there. That's great. I can appreciate that. Last minute things, we got to pull stuff off because it just doesn't work, or we're not ready to talk about it. Absolutely great. I'm all for it. Okay. 7C was proposed amendment to add limited FBO, fixed base operator provision, to the airport rules and standards. Okay, now mind you, I'm about 2 hours and 10 minutes in on this one. When it comes up, they go around the room, kind of talk to a couple different people. Steve spoke on it. I know Frank talked about it a little bit. We had some really nobody else had any, nobody else on the board knew exactly what it was or what a limited FBO was. It came about, there was an entity on this airport that wanted to start selling fuel, one particular type of fuel. The way our minimum standards at this airport work, again, paid a bunch of money to have developed from our last airport director manager, changed the FBO, our own personal definition of an FBO to you have to sell fuel, you have to do all these different types of things, or you can't call yourself an FBO. Anybody that's a pilot that's been around knows what an FBO is. Somebody does maintenance, somebody does aircraft rentals, somebody has rental cars or crew cars or bathrooms or sells airplanes or sells fuel or sells oil and parts and everything else, right? We all know those are some of the things FBOs do, but because the airport director for our particular airport has addressed that and changed that definition to do certain things, it was absolutely ludicrous, okay? So they're going back and forth, and they're going to make some amendments that's going to make it even more convoluted. They're proposing to add in some stuff to say, well, if you sell a certain type of fuel and there's two providers and this, that, and the other, we're going to call you a limited FBO. Okay, guys, there's no limited FBO in the FAA definition. Nowhere. Now, are there other airports that have something similar to a limited FBO in their minimum standards? Yes. Does it affect us, or do we want to get down into that path? Absolutely not. The proposed new changes were going to limit what a company can do and was going to set the county up in the airport for legal battle. I mean, it really, really was. We needed to go back to the basics. But because nobody was educated on this, nobody's come around and talked to people about this, it didn't really get brought up. Now, the one great thing is that it was proposed that we push this off until next month. Well, this has been pushed off for 5 months, first off, so that's a problem. It should be addressed and dealt with right now. But they wanted to push it off, go from there, and then reevaluate it. Well, okay, that was great. And then at the end, they opened it up for public comment. I was able to stand up and kind of go over the ludicrousness of this FBO, the limited FBO thing. Now, all of this could have been fixed really, really quick if people on the board spent 2 to 4 hours a week at this airport talking to end users. You want to represent something, you need to be on a board as a committee member that's going to affect us. You need to be on this board if you participate in what that board represents. If I'm on the Parks and Recs board, I should be utilizing the parks, right? Or if I'm on, I don't know what other boards and committees are, right? If I'm on something for the county, I should at least be a user and know what that is in my mind. That's my own personal deal. So anyway, so public comment, you're limited to 2 minutes. You can spout this off. I went over, I apologize, just like this video's a lot longer than I wanted it to, but to go from there and kind of hopefully educated those people a little bit and going from there. And then the meeting was adjourned. We had a couple other people step up and talk about on public comment, but really it didn't get anything addressed that should have been addressed at this level at all. So we've got to get this cleaned up. I'm hoping that every one of our board members watches this. I know this is crazy long. I sat through a crazy long meeting last night, so I beg of you guys, sit your butts through this thing, listen to it, listen to an end user and kind of what I'm seeing happening here. Go out and talk to the end users of this airport. You guys have to spend some time at this airport participating with information. I challenge all of you guys to come here. I will take every one of you guys for a flight for free on me and my business around this airport, show you what the taxiways look like, show you what the airport looks like from the air, and do all of those things on my dime to help educate you on what this airport needs, the direction this airport should go, and answer any of your questions. That's what I've got. Sorry it was long-winded. Sorry it was all worked up. Again, I love you guys. And this is more for local airport stuff. You guys probably, anybody that's watching this or made it this far that is at a different airport somewhere else, you probably have a lot of these similar problems because it's something that is across the country you hear about. But I want to say thank you for liking and subscribing and staying along this far. And anybody that likes and comments on this video, I'm going to get them out a shirt. So if you like it, if you made it this far and watch it and you like it and comment on this video, I'm going to send you a free No Limits or Brooks shirt. It won't be a sweatshirt, but it'll be a t-shirt, and go from there. Thank you guys very much. You guys have a wonderful day. Later.